Hello, I'm Paul Muldoon, and I have the honor of being a Griffin trustee. And one of the happy tasks I have as a trustee is to have an opportunity to talk to the shortlisted poets for this year's prize. And it's an honor to have the opportunity to talk to Douglas Kearney, who's been shortlisted for his remarkable book, Sho, S-H-O. And Douglas, welcome.
Thank you, Paul. It's a pleasure to be here. It's great to see you again, and it's an honor to be shortlisted.
Listen, please forgive me if this seems a little obvious, but tell me a little bit about the title, Sho, S-H-O, and how it might resonate for you.
So one of the things that's interesting to me is pun, and it's a kind of well that I return to quite a lot in my work. And so show takes on a few different meanings. One sounding like a show as a performance, one sounding like a sort of vernacular pronunciation of shore or for sure, right? So show in that sort of way. But it's also this sort of aspect of like revealing, in that kind of brief way as well. So the actual performance, an agreement or a certainty, and then a revelation.
Now, how do these revelations come to you? Can you say a little bit about your process? How does it work for you, if there is a single, a single way in which it works?
Well, a lot of times when I'm starting a new group of poems, I'm really trying to find a new syntax. I want to find a new way of setting the line. And so a lot of it starts for me with prosody. And I'll kind of get a sense of kind of different sounds clattering against each other. And then I want to draw from that clatter to create something that holds a kind of noise and signal in a sort of tension. And I'm really interested in how that creates the possibility for new poems. Interestingly enough, with the book Show, a lot of those poems were sort of orphans and sods and odds and sods from past sort of series of work, like past periods of work. So I didn't write Show thinking I was writing a manuscript, which is actually pretty rare for me. It really was a product of looking through things that I had not published, collectively before, and creating a different kind of order, a different kind of chime between those poems. So yeah, I had planned to write a completely different manuscript, and that one didn't pan out, and I was greedy, so I dug through my old stuff and said, what if I still have a manuscript somewhere? And that's how Show came about.
So in a sense, you might have had a plan, but the plan didn't quite come together for you. And that perhaps is the ideal situation.
Absolutely.
For the poet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I tend to think that I can outsmart the process, right? But usually that's just me lying to myself, so the process can kind of double cross me. And so that comes out pretty well.
Do you feel that the ideal is that the poem tells you what it wants to be and what it wants to do in the world? And perhaps in this case, it sounds as if maybe has been waiting for the right moment to, if you don't mind my saying, show itself in the world.
Absolutely. Like, I don't know about you, but anytime I write anything, whether I publish it or it sees the light of day, I never feel like I'm wasting time. And that energy around my work, I think, makes it possible for the work to wait until the right moment to jump into the scene. I think that what you said earlier about the kind of ideal conditions for a poet are oftentimes when, I have a plan, but the poem tells me, nah, don't do that. Like dream bigger, or try something different. And there's all kinds of ways that I approach my process to create these moments of surprise and surprise and excitement for myself. Like, I want to surprise myself. The moment, I don't know about you, but the moment I kind of know where something's going, if I start off knowing where it's going, it's not it's not much good energy into it.
Well, I think the principle that if you don't surprise yourself, you're unlikely to surprise anyone else is a fairly well attested one.
Yeah.
But we're talking a little bit in the abstract here. It would be wonderful if you would read one of the poems from the book for us, maybe introduce it and we could have a quick word about it.
Absolutely. So I'm going to read a poem called Do the Cruiseline-up Slowgrind-up. And I picked this because I know you are a lover of song, a writer of song lyrics. And so Do the Cruiseline-up Slowgrind-up is part of a series of 3 poems in show that are all using the form of a song announcing a brand new dance. But each of these particular poems has sort of gone through the pop cultural ringer and the style of those kinds of songs. And this one is specifically about the brand new dance of the Middle Passage. So an old dance we wanted to get into. Do the Cruiseline-up Slowgrind-up. Line up, everybody, for the rocking and rolling, you all in the groove from the windows to the walls. Hump that back, bend them knees, grind in tight on the one you're with it, down to the floor in this funky ass joint to dawn till dark. Fall next on deck, a new cut y'all ain't never heard, but the man on the wheel will make you move. The hot body from coast to coast. Who got the most soul folk want to hear y'all holler? Follow these steps. If you step, you best not too fast, not too far, not too low. Might catch the blues on the 1 and 3. Damn it, don't lose the rhythm. Gonna bring that beat back now. How my crew and I do best believe gonna see y'all work it.
You know, it's striking just how, you know, this most intractable and horrendous of subject matter, right? You know, can be treated with, I don't want to say levity, but a certain amount of humor. I mean, tell me about how that works for you. I mean, I think there are probably those who would say it's absolutely inappropriate to treat of the Middle Passage and the intolerable situation that these enslaved people found themselves in. You know, really, do you have to do that?
That's a very appropriate question. I'm drawing from the tradition, the sort of Afro-diasporic tradition of signifying, which uses everything from pun to a kind of irony, to, in the best cases, a sort of linguistic virtuosity, the ability to act as though you know less than you're actually saying. And so therefore being able to kind of secret a message. You know, there's a long tradition of writing about the Middle Passage. Some remarkable poems have come as a result of that. And Vanessa Phillips, novels as well, you know, and scholarly work and critical work. I'm thinking of Vanessa Phillips' Zong. I'm thinking of Robert Hayden's Middle Passage. I'm thinking of Charles Johnson novel, Middle Passage.
Yes, wonderful.
Absolutely. And sometimes I feel like the horror of something becomes more pronounced when it's handled in a way that could be considered inappropriate, because that puts the reader in the position to be like, no, wait a second, that the Middle Passage was a horrible, like, how can somebody talk about it that way? And now suddenly you are building a sense of that history, or reminding yourself of a sense of that history. And it's sparked by the poem, it's instigated by the poem, and instigating is something else that signifying can do. So I absolutely agree. I think that something that sort of showed me some tactics and ways to approach this was the first time I saw the controversial artist Kara Walker's work. And I hadn't had any knowledge of that work. It was 1997, and I was at the museum in Minnesota called the Walker in Minneapolis. And I just walked into the room, and immediately my hands clapped over my mouth. And behind my hands,
a particular image? Was it a particular work or a particular image that?
It was one of the cyclorama pieces. So I think it might have been the one, you know, her titles are very long, but I think it was the one about Old Virginia Hole. And I just remembered seeing these silhouettes and this kind of this grotesque, you know, display of caricature and violence and S&M. And my hands were over my mouth, and I promised that my mouth was trying to decide whether to sort of grimace or like laugh. I was just in this place of like, oh my, I couldn't believe it, but it felt like the only way to depict that now. in some ways for me.
Do you think that in some sense, each work of art must be, in some sense, shocking?
You know, I would say that I tend towards that direction, but I have encountered works of art that are actually soothing. And I don't think soothing in a kind of a self-satisfied way, but the way that somebody might say, you know, it's okay. These things have happened, but you're going to be okay. I don't know how much talent I have for that. So I'm glad there are other poets and artists.
Well, I have to say, Douglas Kearney, I could talk to you forever, but I think we'd probably need to call it a day. And we're absolutely thrilled that your book show is shortlisted for the Griffin Prize. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you.